Richie Mars is Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes in the King of the Ring finals. The right call for their first matchup in probably forever, right?
Yeah,
What do you think?
it's their first one, I believe, since 2013. Since
Say
the
in
whole
this iteration of Cody Rhodes, it's safe to say, right? Yeah.
yeah with the this was post mustache Cody Rhodes, and this is when we're starting the beginning of the Authority storyline with both these guys. But as a final, I know a lot of people got hung up on the King of the Ring. Oh, it's to make a new star. It's this. It's the other thing. But when you talk about like these wrestling accomplishments, whether it's King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, it could be a good catalyst to build a star, but it's not usually the star maker that people claim it out to be, because WWE, they had this agenda that once you win in King of the Ring, you're up to stardom, but that's not exactly the case, because people want like to say, oh, Austin cut the Austin 316 promo, sky's the limit from there. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't remember between then and his match with Bret Hart at Survivor Series, not a whole lot happened.
Mhm.
So it's just one of those things. I think you can make the case for Kurt, Brock,
Billy
probably
Gunn.
Kurt, Brock, and probably Booker. But
Yeah,
Booker was more
Booker
of like
was.
Booker was already made, but like his character change, like that's when the vehicle of WWE got behind him.
Yeah.
So I would say like those were like the premier King of the Rings, because you had two that solidified their main event career, and the other one just went
Yeah.
totally camp direction of like what the King of the Ring is meant to be, like goofy, but you could be serious at the same time.
Owen kind of too. Like it solidified him in a way,
Yeah,
and it like put a stamp and kind of pushed his push with this Brett along,
I mean, it was
right?
more of a follow up, I think,
Yeah.
for like because the previous year Brett won it, then Owen won it, so it just kind of tied into the story a little bit. Do I think it solidified him as a star? I mean, he was already kind of like well on his way
Yeah.
at that point to be solidified, and then when they had the steel cage match at SummerSlam, they kind of like pulled him back a little bit,
Yeah.
much to the chagrin, I think, for a large portion of the fan base. But yeah, I don't think King of the Ring is used enough as a vehicle for the next like stars. But as for a concept to crown a contender, and with this matchup right here, like I'm not mad at it with this being their first match in a while, especially with this iteration of Cody Rhodes. And I think it's one chapter of the first chapter of a larger story that it's going to be between these two, very similar to how Cody and Kevin Owens, they started bash in Berlin, and then we saw slowly but surely over the coming months, that's when the story really unraveled.
And it's like this iteration of King of the Ring to put it on Gunther and then to put it on Cody. Spoiler, that's what I think's winning, right? But if you were going to make a Austin or a Triple H or whoever,
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Angle, next, you have the equity of your top stars winning it in the year before, which is even more of a boost for, I don't know, pick a name out of the hat. Carmelo Hayes wins it next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very leveling up thing for them to put it on these big monster stars right away to solidify that next star to be made. It's similar to Money in the Bank. It shouldn't always be a rising star. It should be used for a Drew or a Seth, right? And it's once in a while. So I do agree with their like it should be a rising star, but I like how they do it now where it's cool that Cody and Gunther are going to be King of the Rings if Cody were to win, right? So I get
Mm-hmm.
it, right? I think Triple H likes to kind of push things to make people stronger, not give people things to make them, to push them, right?
Yeah, because we've seen a lot of things with these accomplishments. Like I think the last couple of King of the Rings before Triple H brought it back, you had King Barrett, you had King Woods, you had
Yes.
King Sheamus, you had King Corbin.
Yeah. Well,
And it's just like a lot of those guys, like they were just there for the gimmick. You know what I mean? I think the last time they tried to make King of the Ring somewhat serious was when Regal won it, but
yeah,
unfortunately
then he
he
got
got
popped.
he got
Yeah.
popped. So it's one of those things where it's like if you put like the King of the Ring on Gunther, then Cody, and then the person after that, then you could tout it's like, oh, Gunther, Cody, former King of the Ring
On
winners,
that
or
level. Yeah.
yeah, and then it just kind of spirals from there, because yes, making new stars is very important in today's professional wrestling landscape. However, if you give it to somebody and they're not developed as a star yet, then they're just going to be a guy with an accomplishment,
Yeah,
and that's
It's
the worst thing
June.
to have.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
June. We need Ken Shamrock or Billy Gunn to fill this slot. That's not
Yeah,
what you want, right? So yeah,
yeah, you don't want somebody that it's like, oh, they won this accomplishment, so we could talk them up on commentary before they lose to the guy that they're facing. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Where it's like, how Jinder Mahal was WWE champion, and then every time he was in a ring after that, oh, he's the former WWE champion. So when people would beat him, it would mean something more. I don't want the King of the Ring or any accomplishment to just be like, oh, this person won this once upon a time and then never again.
yeah. So all right, let's see if we have the right guys here
Mhm,
in the final four, and then let me know if you would have picked someone else, right? So we
mhm.
have Braun Breaker, Dom Mysterio, Penta, and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn obviously qualified to the semifinals. We'll see the
Mhm.
right pick out of that WrestleMania 41 rematch. Insert Sami Zayn.
I think Sami Zayn was the right choice out of all those guys because with Dom, he has the Intercontinental Championship. I don't think he needed the King of the Ring necessarily when he's still establishing himself as champion. Braun Breaker, he's still in that story with Seth. It'd be good to kind of get more character development out of Braun Breaker. But again, they're still developing this new group that Seth has. So it's understandable. You have LA Knight cost him, so you can continue that issue.
Yep,
And Penta, I wouldn't have been mad at Penta,
King
but
Penta.
yeah,
That's good.
King Penta. But the thing is, it's like now, as we saw on Raw, he's kind of tied in with the Seth Rollins group as well.
It's a good spot
So
for him. Yeah.
it is a great spot for him, especially considering that he debuted 6 months ago. And
Hmm.
I don't think people really envision him interacting with the top guys relatively soon. And him being tied with the Seth Rollins uh, stable is just one of those things where it's like, okay, there's an opportunity to not only develop Penta, but if the timing is right, you could bring in Ray Phoenix as well and perhaps get some backup there. But if not, then great spot for Penta to be
Yeah, I don't want to go on a tangent about Penta, but
in.
yeah, I can see him needing backup, and that's how you insert Ray, who's been off TV for about a month almost now because of
Mhm,
personal reason or whatever. So
mhm.
yeah, no doubt. I really think Triple H enjoys booking Penta and things. You can tell.
Yeah, and especially because there's different types of charisma, and Penta has not only physical charisma, he has verbal charisma too with his
Mhm.
Cierto Miedo hand taunt, which a lot of people really love to do in WWE. And if you have a catchphrase in WWE,
You can
you're
make
gonna be
money.
fine.
Yeah,
You're gonna make money with it. If you make them money, they'll do right by you. And I think Penta would have been cool, like a cool semifinalist, but I don't think he necessarily needed to qualify.
no doubt. All right, and then Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight lost to Randy Orton in a qualifier. Orton, the right pick out of those four?
Ah, you could with Randy, that was his first match since Backlash. So I understand him looking strong. I think a lot of people want LA Knight to move on, but with the story they're telling with Seth, that wasn't going to
Yeah,
happen.
she took the L. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
and Aleister Black, I think a lot of people want Aleister Black to be in a story, and I think we're kind of getting that with the Truth scenario. So it's like we kind of need to speed up Aleister Black being in a story, and I feel like he wasn't going to win the thing anyway. So if he were to move on the semifinals, he would probably have just lost,
Yeah,
or hypothetically, if you made the finals, he'd be lost. Carmelo Hayes, again, it's one of those things where it's like you give a guy an accomplishment, and what do they do with it, kind of thing, because he
he's not
won the
ready for one. He
yeah
just has the entree, and he has the
he
mid.
won the Andre, and it's just kind of let him establish that a little bit more, and then we're still not sure how the Mello Don't Miz team is going to work out, and it's like he didn't eat the fall, so I'm happy, but I hope they kind of give him an ounce or something in the future to do, especially with SmackDown allegedly going back to 2 hours. It's going to be a little bit tougher, so
Yeah,
we'll see from there.
yeah. All right, and then Andrade, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura, and obviously Cody Rhodes
Mhm.
advanced to the semifinals in that one. I don't know. I thought Nakamura should have really won that one. What do you, what do you think? I
Yeah,
can't say it with straight face.
yeah, no, yeah. Cody was the right choice because a lot of people will say, "Oh, he pinned Cena at Money in the Bank. Why does he need to win King of the Ring?" However, if you go by the pin that Cody had, he got interference from Truth, and I'm sure if they would be like Iron Rashad, I pinned the WWE champion. I'm sure people would be up in arms saying, "Oh, you had help, so why do you deserve a shot?" So he's actually earning his shot hypothetically to get to John Cena if he were to win. So, again, it made sense to me. So, Cody moving on, out of those four names, I think was fine. I think it was a great showcase for Andrade. and Shinsuke got to see the lights once again. So
He did his job, no pun intended. All right,
yeah.
then Bronson Reed, Rusev, Sheamus, and the Mystery Man, Jey Uso. Of course, Jey Uso was a mystery man because he was the world champion at the time of announcing this match. So it was a cute way. But you looked at all that beef, right?
Mhm,
And you're like, who's it gonna be to live up to that mystery man hype with all that
mhm.
velocity of men in there? And it was Jey Uso. But honestly, that was a pretty good match, I thought. And all of them have been pretty good to really good, right? So
Yeah.
Sammy and the IC guys from WrestleMania 41 probably being the best first rounder. But do you
Mhm.
think Jay was the right choice to win that final four-way in the first round?
I mean, you gotta have Jay kind of bounce back if need be, because he lost to Gunther the week before, so you kind of still want him in that mix and try to keep him in a sense of importance, which I think all four of these guys are in today's landscape of WWE. So yeah, Jay winning, like again, I was fine with it. The mystery kind of thing, I didn't think it was like needed. If
But I get why
anything,
they did it, right?
I understand why they did it. Like if anything, like if I was you know playing coach here, I would just be like they would have announced somebody, they would have been taken out, and then it would be like up in the air if they were to be making it into King of the Ring, and then you have Jey Uso flinging it in that spot. So it's like it's one of those things where creatively I'm just like, yeah, we could have like tightened the screws a little bit here, but it was what it was. Like Jay winning, I thought was the right choice out of those guys.
Yeah, and I thought it was the writing one on the wall when they were the last one to go, right? Or I presumed Cody to win, so let's be real.
Hmm.
But I thought it was really cute when Jay was the last one to get announced, and I was like, all right, Cody's gonna win. So I really like the idea of four baby faces in here. You have
Hmm.
the two big stars of Cody and Randy on the opposite side of the semifinals, and then you have like guys that are kind of at the same level, same popularity, even though Jey Uso is probably bigger than Sami Zayn, but from like a wrestling standpoint, Jey Uso's coming off the world title.
Hmm.
They're kind of at the same level, to be frank, right? So
Yeah.
I like that the four baby faces, two at the tippity top. I'll give Orton a tippity top, and then
Hmm.
two at the next level down
Hmm.
were kind of matched up against each other. What did you think of the four baby faces, and what did you think of each match individually?
The four-way matches individually.
No, the two semifinals.
So like the four baby faces in the semifinals, it didn't bother me because you have two heel champions. So it's like
I like
to
that.
to make it more unpredictable, like have all four of the top arguably baby faces that you're pushing right now, and then you have conceivable finals for each of the pairings because everybody who's tied to the semifinals has history with each other. Like you have Sammy and Jay, you have Sammy Cody as potential matches, you have Randy Cody and Randy Jay, and all those guys are interconnected because you have like Randy and Cody, obviously from their past. You have Randy and Jay. Jay was a part of the bloodline that took out Randy. Granted, Randy forgave him, but is that really like squashed beef? Then you have Sammy and Cody. Remember, Cody tried to hype up Sammy before his match with Roman Reigns, and Sammy's still trying to capture his first world title. And then you have Sammy Jay, where they're cool. And you saw like some brief hints here and there that Sammy is happy for Jay, but by some camera shots, is he really happy for him? So it's like,
Yep.
so it gave you multiple options in this semifinal to be like, I'm not really sure, like which way this is gonna go. Now, me and it's just like a slight nitpick. I would have liked the Sammy and Orton match to come after the Cody J match because I feel like that would be a little bit more unpredictable if they were to
Yeah.
go with Randy. Because I feel like when Randy won, then it's like, all right, Cody Randy was going to be the match. I thought there was an outside chance we might get like a double finish with Cody and Jay, like double count out and then triple threat.
Double pin or something goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Randy Cody was probably the most likely scenario.
I'm glad
Uh, I,
we got that. I don't know if I would
yeah,
have liked that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just one of those things where it's like I'm not sure if they want Randy to eat the pin or not. At
Well,
Saturday Night of Champions.
I think that will play into the future, right?
Yeah, and then like as for the semifinal matches, I thought Randy and Sammy were very like were was very good.
It was very good.
I
For
did
an
note
11-minute match, it was excellent.
Yeah, and like if you notice, like during the spots, like Randy was the first one to cheat with the thumb to the eye, and the crowd cheered, and then when Sammy returned fire, the crowd booed. You know what I mean? So it's like Randy's still has like big real estate, so I'm kind
It's
of iffy
still
on him turning like heel in the future. And with Cody J, that match I thought was probably one of Jay's best performances in a solo capacity. And I think it just kind of shows Cody's ability to bring out some stuff out of his competitors, and I think it kind of shows that Cody can be a very like good ring general, so to speak. When I think a lot of people kind of criticize him, whereas he's maybe not might not be the most advanced, but it's like Cody. I feel like when he's like in like Cody in like this spot, I think he's like probably the best if you want to like lay him out on the table. Like you have Cena, you have Roman, like we're counting Big Dog Roman.
yeah.
Uh, like I think Cody is like moveset wise, I think he has like the more diverse moveset and can kind of work with everybody. And just look at his championship run. Like I don't think he's had like the only two like considered bad matches I'd give him is like the SummerSlam match with Solo and the Cena match at Mania.
Yeah.
Like those were probably the two marks on his
On his
title
resume.
reign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody is a great WWE main event wrestler. I think
Mm,
it goes without saying. He's immensely over. The pacing, the work rate, everything. He's got it down pat. He's he's very good at this point of his career
mm,
at being a babyface main event wrestler. I don't get if there's ever hate, I don't
mm.
get it. It's just hate. You know what I mean?
I
So
mean, it's like they're with you when you're rising to the top, and when you're on the top, they want to see you be knocked off because they see a
yeah, in a
new
way, right?
person. Yeah, it's like that's kind of how it is, and then they get nostalgic for you, and they're like, "Oh, we want you back on top again." Of course, that's when they're like wrapping up
A
their
little bit of
career a
that
little
now with
bit.
Orton, right?
Yeah, you got it with Randy. You got it with Cena as well.
To an
So it's
extent,
just
yeah, no doubt.
yeah. So it's just like that's just how the nature of the beast is. It's like they're with you, and then they won't be with you, and then when they start to like you again, it's like, oh, we want you back on here, and then it's like, all right,
Fickle, Brian Danielson would say.
yeah,
Fickle. All right, we're at the end here, Richie. I let it out of the bag earlier. I think the move is Cody Rhodes, but similar to what I said with Ibu, I think that Cody wins this, no problem. It's a great match, right? Like I think
hmm
he wins definitively.
hmm
But in the Punk Cena match, I feel that there's an out, if there's a double pin, a disqualification, uh, Cody gets or Punk gets screwed or something, and we find a three-way at SummerSlam. I feel that it's heading that way. I understand that Cody versus Cena is the obvious match for the WrestleMania rematch, but why there's so much, especially after the pipe bomb from Cena or whatever, there's just so much meat on the Cena and Punk bone. And then I don't know if it was a coincidence or if this obviously was for the future, but how soon is the future for Cody and Punk to happen to run next to each other 2 weeks ago on SmackDown and be like, we're finally going to see each other. You know that, right? Yes, I
hmm
respect you, so on and so forth. So it's like we look in a little bit too there, and would a three-way be fitting for SummerSlam out of the three biggest stars? And then you have Seth looming too as well.
yeah. The thing is, with all of that, I don't see a triple threat match between Cena, Punk, and Cody. I think it'd be very interesting to see it at SummerSlam, but with triple threat matches, there's always the danger of someone getting most of the flack for being in it, if that
Well,
makes
like
any
Seth at
sense.
WrestleMania, Io at
Yeah.
WrestleMania, right?
Yeah,
I don't
and
think that we would see flack though. I think we'd see a little relief. And who would get the flack? Are you hinting that Cody may?
I think depending on how people are feeling with Punk with the pipe bomb, and we heard on Raw that the fans are still very much behind Punk, and
Respect.
with Cody, it's like Cody's fine too, And but the thing is, I'm worried actually about both Cody and Punk in this scenario because John Cena is tremendously popular, which is it was a ballsy move on WWE's part to turn Cena heel in his final year because he was going to get cheered regardless. But now it's like this story has to be about Cody and Cena. Cody needs to get his win back from WrestleMania, I feel like, because I feel like if he doesn't, it probably damage is not like the best word to say, but it's like I feel like the story would be incomplete if Cody's not the one to take the championship back, because the story started with Cody and Cena. Story, at least for the championship, story has to end with Cody and Cena, and then you could always run Cena Punk back at the Boston show at Saturday Night's Main Event or whatever the show is going to be
Yeah.
called, because their story doesn't need to be about the title, you
No,
know.
it doesn't. But I'm
And with
curious because then you have a prologue, and then you advance. Cody is advancing the Orton program
Mhm,
by getting to SummerSlam, and then he's advancing the inevitable Punk WrestleMania main event
mhm,
by, and you're not giving it away, right?
yeah.
So I don't know. I can see it, but I don't think it. I think we're just going to get the straight ahead
Mhm.
Cena and Cody, and honestly, I think a three-way might help deflect some of that negative energy that Cody may perceive. I think in the long run he'll be fine, even if he
Mhm.
gets negative reactions with a Cena at a SummerSlam. I think he's totally fine.
I mean,
Because we got a
With
little bit of
yeah,
WrestleMania, right?
I mean, with Cody, it's a little bit different because Cody's able to flip the crowd onto his side in certain situations,
Yeah,
and I feel like, especially if you even go back to when Sami Zayn people wanted to face Roman at WrestleMania, they were very smart in having Cody be kind of like the support, the cheerleader of Sammy, wanting to face Sammy at WrestleMania. So it deflected like the heat they got back onto Roman for beating Sammy in Montreal.
yeah.
And with Cody and his interactions with Cena, I think with a John Cena that's less focused on hating the crowd and more focused on Cody, I think that's going to help the Cody and John story overall, because now it's
Cody
going to be
and
more
John,
about them.
yeah. I just think Cody and John is the least interesting story. It's just that's a personal preference,
Yeah,
and I feel that it might be the majority might think that. I think Cody, Punk and
it's like
John is way
yeah.
more interesting.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. Just because with the Cody and John matchup that happened in WrestleMania, it was probably one of the worst WrestleMania main events in quite some time.
Yeah,
It's
33 probably.
like the thing is, it's like if they face off against SummerSlam, can't get any worse. You know, it's
No,
like
I know, but then it's like you're
that's one of the things, and also that was John's first match leading it as a heel in 20 some odd years.
yeah, but
You
still,
know, so
the
it's
match
just
was
like it's one of those
fine
things
enough.
where,
Yeah, the
yeah.
match was fine enough until the stupid finish, right? So,
Yeah, you know, and it's just like with John and Cody, I think they do want to rectify WrestleMania at SummerSlam, and I think they should be given an opportunity. And if they pass with flying colors, cool. If they don't, then we know how their chemistry is, you know. And I think it's just like one of those things where they want to solidify Cody as a main event guy, with John kind of like passing the torch, and that's where we get that babyface turn.
yeah.
And I'm not sure if that happens with CM Punk in the helm. If anything, that's going to add more gasoline to the heel Cena fire. And I'm not sure if people want to see the heel turn continue. Now, personally, I think like slowly but surely the turn has been winning me over as the weeks progress, just because I feel like John Cena's finally hit a groove, and it's not
Yeah,
just
he's
because of the pipe
comfortable
bomb.
in
I
his
think,
heel skin. Yeah.
yeah, it's not just because of the pipe bomb either. I think it's just like his cadence is now different. Now he's like being more of like an
He
over the top heel without being over the top.
he's less lazy. It's not the you people stuff, right?
Yeah, you know, it's like now he's focusing his anger on his opponents that he's facing. And again, he's getting cheered for majority of his program. So it's like it's not just like people don't like Cody thing. It's people are just like really wanting John to win because he's like the Thanos of this story, you know what I mean? Where it's like he's the protagonist, even though he's the bad guy in this story, but he's like defeating all the Avengers essentially. And yeah, it's with this main event, with Cody and John hypothetically, it will lead up to like more story opportunities with Randy, with Punk, potentially John again, if you want to go that far. But it's
I know
like,
it's just unfortunate if as John's heating up and getting a little bit deeper and better at this heel run, you're just kind of giving him the least most interesting guy. But it is what it is. Do you feel that the finish of this match will alter Randy's actions as a character?
I think there's a good chance. I think there's a good chance that we see maybe a roll
Inevitably,
up, like a roll up finish, like a conflicted Randy about to punt Cody and then having second thoughts. I do think we get a more established like first chapter of this
Yeah.
story because this is one of the matches that a lot of people were looking forward to with the Cody championship run. It was this one and the Rock match. Obviously, both didn't happen. I think that's why a lot of people were left disappointed with the whole Cody run overall, just because those matches didn't happen. And I think this is going to be like a good like first step into the right direction where Cody, gets John, gets Randy, and potentially Punk, and then like in between you'll have like people like Drew, maybe Gunther if they do a draft, maybe Seth. So it's
Yeah,
like
there's a
there's
plethora of guys to work with for sure.
yeah, so it's like there's a lot of different possibilities that you have.
For sure. All right, Cody, it is. We'll see. I think match quality wise, it's gonna be pretty good. Where would you put this? Open, or would you close it, or do you think Cena's closing?
Cena's closing,
I
no
agree.
doubt about it.
I Yeah.
I think this will be. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the semi. I think
Semi
they'll. I
old
think they'll put
school.
it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they put it semi.
Semi or right in the middle, right? I don't. This
Yep.
doesn't feel like an opener, but it may be. You never know, right? I feel that. I don't know what would open actually. Maybe Fatu solo. I don't know, but all right. Richie was great as always. Raw or SmackDown coming out soon. If you guys haven't checked it, check it out. It's our little mini series with our rotation of guests, and we have a lot more coming, Richie. So those have been fun. We got about 6 in the can, even though we released one, but I think more coming this weekend, hopefully. So Richie Mars for now. We'll see you in the next one, buddy.
Thank you for having me.